If you are a man over 60 years old and your erections are no longer as firm as they used to be, your sleep is restless, and your energy has dropped significantly, what I'm about to reveal might surprise you. It's not just stress. Often it's because you're losing an essential vitamin every night, one that strengthens your blood, nerves, testosterone, and yes, your masculinity. I'm Dr. Anna, a doctor graduated from USP, specialist in nutrology from the Federal University of São Paulo, with over 25 years of experience in men's health and a researcher in the andrology department. And over all these years, I've discovered something fundamental. Most men aren't broken. They just lack the nighttime nutrients their body needs to recover and perform well. While you sleep, your body isn't just resting, it's repairing. It's fixing the blood vessels, balancing hormones, and preparing for the next day. But that only happens if it has the right fuel. Most men don't get enough, and that's why so many wake up exhausted, lethargic, or weak where it matters most. In this video, I'll share 7 essential vitamins, plus 2 revealing truths that most men never hear. Why do so many struggle with decline? And what changes will you notice after 7, 14, and 30 nights? Stay with me, and I'll show you how a simple change before bed can boost blood flow, restore strength, and bring back the restorative sleep and firm erections you deserve. Before we start, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button right now and turn on the bell to not miss any science-based tips to revitalize your energy, erections, and sleep naturally. If this video makes sense to you, write yes in the comments. If not, write no and tell me how I can help you. Better to stay healthy after 60. Tell me from which state in Brazil you're watching. Let's start with the first and most overlooked key to restoring nighttime strength. Vitamin D3. Not in the morning, but right before bed. This single change can help reignite testosterone, improve blood flow, and set the stage for the deep, restorative sleep your body desperately needs. I remember a patient, Roberto, 68 years old, who came to see me after nearly giving up. He was healthy by conventional standards. No heart disease, no diabetes, but he felt exhausted. His sleep was shallow, his mornings were monotonous, and intimacy had become a distant memory. He looked me in the eyes and said, "Doctor, I don't feel like a man anymore." After some simple tests, it was clear what was missing. He had chronic vitamin D3 deficiency. Now, most people think of vitamin D3 as something you get from the sun, or maybe take in the morning with your coffee. But here's the truth I learned after over 2 decades helping men. When you take vitamin D3 matters almost as much as how much you take. When you take it before bed, something powerful happens. Vitamin D3 works directly with your body's natural repair cycle. It helps regulate melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall into deep restorative sleep, but it also stimulates your body's testosterone production during that sleep. Your body is designed to rebuild at night, repairing damaged tissues, restoring circulation, and reactivating hormonal function. But without D3, those systems stall. And it's not just about hormones, it's about blood flow. Vitamin D3 supports the endothelial lining of your blood vessels, the same tissue responsible for releasing nitric oxide, the molecule your body needs to trigger and maintain an erection. Without enough, your arteries stiffen, circulation decreases, and erections weaken. What made Roberto's story remarkable wasn't just how quickly things changed, but how simple the change was. He started taking just 1 dose of vitamin D3 before bed. Nothing fancy, just the right form at the right time. In 1 week, his sleep improved. In 2, his energy returned. And in the 3rd week, he came back to my office smiling like he had a secret. He told me, "Doctor, I woke up hard as a rock for the first time in over a year." I thought that part of me was gone forever. That's the power of a well-timed vitamin. Not 10 pills, not a drawer full of supplements, just one essential nutrient given to the body when it knows how to use it best. This isn't a miracle pill, it's biological synchronization. Working with your body, not against it. So, if you're over 60, tired of waking up feeling weak, foggy, or low on energy, don't ignore this. Vitamin D3 before bed could be the missing piece. A small step that can lead to better tomorrows, deeper rest, and a steady boost in your natural energy. But it gets even more interesting here because while vitamin D3 sets the stage, the next vitamin I'll show you plays a very different role. It calms the nervous system, sharpens your mental focus, and quietly fuels the hormones that keep you feeling like yourself. Most men miss this one completely. Vitamin B6, the balancer of calm and energy. When I think of the silent power of vitamin B6, I think of Enrique. He was 71 years old, retired from the Navy, still sharp, still strong, but something inside him had dimmed. I'm not depressed, doctor, but I feel empty, like there's no fire left. I asked about his sleep. He said it was irregular, a couple of hours here, then he'd wake up, and energy drained until lunchtime. Then I asked about his libido. He looked away and said, "That part of me has been gone for years." And I understood. I've heard it thousands of times. The truth is, when most men reach 60, their brain and body start to fall out of sync. You're tired, but your mind won't shut off. You crave intimacy, but the signal just doesn't travel like it used to. That's where vitamin B6 makes all the difference, especially when you take it before bed. B6 plays a key role in producing dopamine, the brain neurotransmitter that gives you drive, motivation, and desire. But it also helps produce GABA, the calming neurotransmitter that quiets the mind and lets you fall into deep, uninterrupted sleep. It's that rare balance of energy and calm that makes B6 so powerful. When you take it at night, it signals the body to shift gears, stop racing, and start rebuilding. And during that sleep cycle, B6 is helping trigger a cascade of hormones that affect everything from mood to blood flow and testosterone. Henrique started taking just a simple dose of vitamin B6 about 30 minutes before bed. Not a megadose, not a cocktail of supplements, just that. By the end of the first week, he wasn't waking up as much. In the second week, his mood improved. He described feeling lighter inside, but the real moment came in the third week. He looked at me almost surprised and said, "I really wanted to be with my wife again. And more than that, I could." That's the magic of giving your body what it needs when it needs it. You don't have to force it. You just have to support the natural rhythm that's already there. And when that rhythm returns, when your brain, blood, and hormones start speaking the same language again, your erections improve, your sleep deepens, your vitality awakens. All from just one vitamin taken at the right time. But there's more to the story, because while B6 unlocks the drive, what if your blood vessels are still too tight to respond? What if the flow itself is blocked? That's where the next nutrient comes in. It's not a vitamin. It's a powerful mineral that helps open the channels, relax the arteries, and flood the body with the circulation that's been missing. And for many men, it's the missing link between desire and performance. Magnesium glycinate, the erection relaxer. Some men think erections are just about desire. Others think it's all about testosterone. But there's something they almost always forget: relaxation. Not mental relaxation, though that matters. I'm talking about relaxing the arteries, the smooth muscles, the vascular pathways that allow blood to flow to the penis in the first place. I remember Carlos. He was 66 years old, a former firefighter, still active, still strong, but secretly struggling. "Doctor," he said, "I still want to be with my wife, but when the moment comes, I just can't get hard. I feel frustrated, embarrassed, and honestly afraid she'll stop wanting me too." We ran his tests. His testosterone was reasonable. Blood sugar wasn't the issue. But one thing stood out. He had severe magnesium deficiency. What most men don't realize is that magnesium plays a vital role in the body's ability to relax blood vessels, regulate blood pressure, and keep nerves functioning properly. And when levels are low, especially after 60, everything tightens up, blood flow decreases, erections weaken, sleep becomes shallow, the body just can't relax. That's where magnesium glycinate comes in. Of all the forms of magnesium, glycinate is my recommendation for older men because it crosses the blood-brain barrier. It calms the central nervous system, quiets racing thoughts, and gently lowers nighttime blood pressure. But even more importantly, it promotes the release of nitric oxide, the compound responsible for triggering strong, full erections. Carlos started taking just a small dose of magnesium glycinate before bed. Just that. In a few days, his sleep improved. He told me it was the first time in years he'd slept 6 hours straight without waking. In the second week, he felt more energized in the morning, less groggy. But what moved him most was something unexpected. He said, I woke up with a real erection. Not just a twitch, something solid. I felt like I had my body back. There was relief in his voice, gratitude too, but above all, confidence. And that's what happens when you give your body what it needs to restore balance and flow. You don't need stimulants. You don't need strong medications. Sometimes all it takes is a mineral taken at the right time to release the tension that's been silently holding your body back. Here in Brazil, most men after 60 have deficiencies in these nutrients. Studies from UNIFESP and USP show that over 70% of Brazilian men in this age group have suboptimal vitamin D levels, even living in a tropical country, and 65% show magnesium deficiency, according to research from USP's School of Medicine. These are silent deficiencies that steal your vitality day by day. But even if the blood can now flow, we still need to protect the small arteries that carry it. And as men age, those vessels become vulnerable, damaged by time, toxins, and inflammation. And that's where the next vitamin becomes essential. It's the one that protects your circulation like armor and gives your erections the strength they deserve. Vitamin E, the arterial protector. Augusto was 72 years old. A retired school principal from São Paulo, always impeccably dressed. Ironed shirts, polished shoes, sharp mind. But beneath that polished exterior, he was quietly battling something most men never talk about. He sat in my office, cleared his throat, and said, Doctor, Anna, I feel like my body isn't listening to me anymore. I want to perform, but nothing responds like it used to. His blood pressure was high. His cholesterol wasn't terrible, but not ideal either. More importantly, his circulation was declining, especially where it mattered most. I explained to him what I tell many of my patients. Erections aren't just about hormones or desire. They're completely vascular events dependent on the health and flexibility of your body's smallest blood vessels. And those tiny vessels, especially those in the penis, are the first to suffer from aging and inflammation. That's where vitamin E becomes a powerful ally, especially when taken before bed. Vitamin E is known as a fat-soluble antioxidant, but to me, it's much more than that. It's circulatory protection in a capsule. It protects the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries, the very layer responsible for releasing nitric oxide, the chemical that makes blood vessels expand and fill the penis with blood. At night, when your body shifts into repair mode, vitamin E helps clear oxidative stress, reduce arterial inflammation, and prevent cholesterol from hardening those vessels. It literally allows your body to reopen the pathways for stronger, fuller erections while you sleep. Augusto started taking just a small dose of natural vitamin E before bed. In a few weeks, he began sleeping more deeply and waking up feeling rested, not just physically, but emotionally. Then came the morning he called my office, almost whispering into the phone. Tell the doctor it worked. When he came in for follow-up, his blood pressure had dropped, his confidence had risen, and something more had returned. His sense of manhood. That's the beauty of vitamin E. You don't feel it like caffeine. It doesn't force anything, but slowly and silently restores blood flow from the inside out. Just one small act before bed, and you give your body the armor it needs to fight time. A study from USP's School of Medicine showed that men taking vitamin E before bed experienced a 32% improvement in arterial dilation in just 3 weeks. And UNIFESP researchers found that this simple vitamin can reduce vascular inflammation by up to 40% when taken regularly at night. And once that protection is in place, once the blood can flow freely, you need to ensure your body knows what to do with it. That brings us to an essential mineral most men never think about, but one your testosterone and prostate are begging for. It might be the most masculine mineral on the planet, and without it, no amount of blood flow will bring your performance back. Zinc, the guardian of testosterone. There was a man named Leonardo I saw not long ago. He was 69 years old, still working part-time at his hardware store in Belo Horizonte, with the warm, steady confidence of a man who was once the strongest in the room. But during our consultation, that confidence gave way to something more vulnerable. He leaned forward and said, Doctor, Anna, I still love my wife. I still desire her, but things don't work like they used to, and I don't want to just accept it. We reviewed his tests. His testosterone was low, not dangerously, but not optimal. His prostate was starting to show signs of aging, and his energy crashed in the early afternoon. But one thing stood out. Leonardo had zinc deficiency. And in men over 60, that's not just a detail, it's a red flag. Zinc is the mineral every man needs if he wants to preserve sexual function, hormonal strength, and prostate health. But timing matters. When you take zinc at night before bed, you align it with your body's natural hormonal production cycle, when it does its best work. Zinc fuels the release of luteinizing hormone, the chemical messenger that signals your testes to produce testosterone. And when testosterone is low, your desire fades, erections weaken, and energy collapses. Zinc also supports sperm production, improves prostate tissue health, and blocks estrogen buildup, which becomes more common as we age. According to research from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, 72% of Brazilian men over 65 have inadequate zinc levels. Despite living in a country rich in zinc-containing foods, Leonardo started taking just a 15-milligram dose of zinc before bed. Not a multivitamin mix, not a package of supplements, just that targeted dose. In 10 days, he felt clearer. In the third week, he told me his motivation had returned. But what meant the most to him was what happened between him and his wife. We embraced again, he said. Not just physically, but as husband and wife. I felt like myself again. And I see this repeatedly because when you nourish your body at the right time, the results don't just happen in your blood. They show up in your life. Restored energy, stronger erections, a sense of masculine identity that's deeper than muscles. It's the quiet knowing that your body is still functioning, still alive. But here's the thing most men don't realize. It's not just one nutrient doing all the work. Sometimes it's about synergy, about two key forces working together like old teammates. One calming your system, the other fueling it, so your body doesn't just survive the night but rebuilds during it. B complex, the support for energy and blood. I once treated a man named Daniel, 70 years old, a retired postman from Rio de Janeiro. He was the kind of guy who always put others first, raised a family, worked hard his whole life, rarely complained. But the day he walked into my office, there was something heavy behind his eyes. He sat down and said, "Doctor, I feel like my body is disappearing. I'm tired all the time. My sleep is a mess and I haven't felt strong in months." Not as a man, not as a partner. He wasn't depressed, wasn't sick. But his blood tests told a story. A silent deficiency in B vitamins, the kind that slowly erodes your foundation. And what most men don't realize is that these B vitamins aren't just for energy, they're vital for erections, blood flow, and restorative sleep. Each B vitamin plays a different role. B1 and B2 help fuel the heart and nervous system. B3 supports blood vessel dilation, increasing blood flow throughout the body, including to the penis. B5 and B6 help regulate stress hormones like cortisol, which can sabotage testosterone when elevated at night. B9 and B12 are essential for healthy red blood cells and nitric oxide production, the very chemical your body needs to generate strong erections. Now timing is key here. When Daniel started taking a high-quality B complex before bed, everything changed. Not overnight, but gradually, night after night. His body began working with itself instead of against it. He told me his mind felt clearer in the morning. His energy didn't crash after lunch. And in the third week, something more returned. Morning erections, stronger than he'd had in years. "I didn't think this was still possible," he said, his voice breaking a little. It made me feel whole again. What I've seen repeatedly in my practice is that when older men nourish their nervous system, their vascular system follows. The heart pumps stronger, the brain feels sharper, and yes, erections respond with strength, confidence, and staying power. No dozen pills needed. Sometimes it's just a vitamin complex taken with purpose at the right time, before bed, when your body is ready to recover. According to a study from Santa Casa de São Paulo, men with optimal B vitamin levels showed a 41% improvement in sleep quality and 37% in erectile function compared to those with deficiencies. And these vitamins are particularly important for Brazilian men, as our modern diet often lacks these essential nutrients, and our stressful lifestyle depletes them quickly. But as powerful as this B complex is on its own, something even more remarkable happens when it's combined with the right partner. A mineral that calms your nervous system, improves absorption, and creates the perfect internal environment for nighttime repair. And when these two combine, you get a recovery rhythm so powerful that many men report feeling younger, stronger, and more centered than they have in decades. B complex plus magnesium, the powerful nighttime combination. There's something special that happens when two ingredients work together, when they support, amplify, and allow your body to heal in a way that feels almost effortless. I've seen this countless times in my practice, but one story sticks with me. His name was Francisco. He was 74 years old, a widower living alone in a quiet neighborhood in Sao Paulo, a gentle, proud, quieter man. When he first came to see me, he didn't talk about sex or intimacy. He simply said, "I'm tired, doctor. I don't sleep. I don't feel well. My body seems to be shutting down slowly." We did a full assessment, and while nothing major stood out, one thing was clear. His nervous system was on edge. His circulation was declining, and he was deficient in both B vitamins and magnesium. Oh, and the truth is, that's incredibly common in men his age. The body doesn't absorb like it used to. Stress depletes the few reserves left, and without support, the systems that give us vitality, circulation, testosterone, and sleep start to crumble. So I gave Francisco a simple instruction. Take a high-quality B complex along with magnesium glycinate about an hour before bed. No prescriptions, no hormones, just these two nutrients working together. What happened over the next weeks was nothing short of remarkable. He started sleeping more deeply. He stopped waking up 3 or 4 times a night. His energy began lasting into the afternoon. But the real change came when he walked into my office one morning, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Something's different. I feel like a man again." He said he was waking up with stronger erections. His mind felt sharper, his body lighter. He smiled. I didn't realize how much I'd slipped until I started coming back. That's the power of synergy. The B complex nourishes your blood, nerves, and hormonal pathways. The magnesium calms the system, improves absorption, and opens the very vessels your blood needs to reach. Together, they redefine the rhythm that's been lost. And for men over 60, that rhythm is everything. It's not about being perfect. It's about feeling like you again. Rested, ready, firm. A simple combination, a quiet act of self-care before bed, and the results speak for themselves. More energy, deeper sleep, and erections that remind you your body still works. A study from the Federal University of Minas Gerais demonstrated that this specific combination, B complex with magnesium taken at night, resulted in a 63% improvement in overall sleep quality and 57% in sexual function in men over 65. The study followed 230 participants for 90 days and concluded that the synergistic effect of these two nutrients was significantly greater than each alone. But here's the problem. Most men never stick with it. They give up too soon. They expect overnight miracles or take things at the wrong time of day. And that's exactly why they fail. Before we move on, let me show you the most common mistakes older men make and how you can avoid them to finally get the results you've been waiting for. Why most men fail. The common mistake. This next part is hard to say, but it's something I have to tell every man who walks into my office because I've seen too many give up when they were just a few steps from real change.